Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live stream. I hope everything's working because I've not done any streaming for such a long time. I'm not sure if anything is working properly, so I think it seems to be working. But hello. Let me just make sure that the audio for the game is a little bit lower. But yeah, hello, welcome everyone. As the name of the stream suggests, I am playing some Space Marine 2. It's got released. The early access version got released today, but I got like a review copy a couple of weeks ago, so I've been playing quite a bit of it over the last few weeks. I've not been allowed to talk about it, so I'm really been enjoying it. We're going to be playing some operations mode today. We're going to be doing a little bit of talking about the game, so if you have any questions about it. I've not played any of the PvP multiplayer because there's been very much a lack of players available online to play that at the moment in the review period, but I've been playing against the PvE operations mode. I've completed the campaign as well. So so hello to everyone who's in the chat currently. It's been a while. This isn't a hobby chat like it maybe has been in the past, but those will be coming back soon. I just really wanted to kind of get back into the streaming thing, and I thought I'll ease myself in nicely with some Space Marine 2 gaming. So if there is any issues with audio, anything like that, just let me know. Again, this is I don't think the last time I streamed was January, maybe. It's quite a while ago. I'm also trying to get it streamed to Twitch, but it doesn't seem to be working. So let's see if I can fix that first, because we are definitely working on YouTube, but is Twitch working? It's not working. So let's try that for the time being. So yeah, I hope everyone is having a good time since the last stream, and I have been hard at work on videos as per usual. So there's a few videos in the pipeline. There's one which is going live next weekend, which is probably a really big build. I can't show it to you. Oh, that's what I'm going to say about that one, but I can't currently show it to you at the moment. Let's see if I can get this information. If this doesn't work on Twitch, I'll just play it on YouTube. It's not a massive problem, but if I could get it to work on there, let's see. We'll leave it. I'll try it one more time. I think it's something to do with stream keys or something. Okay, it says it's streaming, but I don't know if it is because it's just saying offline, so I'm not sure if this is working at all. Let's try. Let's go. Anyway, right. As you can probably hear the game in the back. I think it's currently audible in the background, is it not? No, it's just me at the moment. So let's switch to the game. Again, if the game itself, the audio is a bit strange, then of course it's not set up properly. Bear with me. I literally tried this earlier and it was working fine, and it's not working currently. Why is it not working? It's capturing the audio. I can hear the audio playing and I can see the bars going up, but why is the actual... Let's delete that game capture completely. Start it again. Add. Application. Game capture. Yeah, make a new one. Capture a specific window. Warhammer 40k. For some reason it's not working. Let's try it without the... No, that's not working either. Let's quit the game. Let's see if we can get it back up again. I don't know what it was. I tried this earlier and it was working perfectly. It was working no problems whatsoever. And as soon as I go live, everything just dies. So hopefully we can get it going. Right, let's run that again. And then if we get there, right, okay. Is it going? Are we going to get it? Oh, here we go. We've got it. What is going on? This is terrible. Let's move this down. There we go. Okay, move that down. Okay, why is it so big? There we go. Okay. Let me know if the audio is a little bit out. If it's too loud or anything like that, then you can't hear my voice, then please do let me know. Right, okay, so now it's working. We can actually start to play the game, and we can start talking about the game. Hi, I was wondering if you were planning on making a conversions of Titus's two friends from the game. I think they would look awesome as miniatures. Yeah, so this is the thing. This is one of the things about the game that I've been playing. There's so many kind of interesting characters in there, and also there's a whole bunch of interesting. We'll see it in here, but you can customize your armor, and there's lots of kind of cool little customizations you can do. And there's a lot of cool characters, so there's a few interesting sources of inspiration for this, and I probably will do some stuff in the future, but for the time being, just turn that down for myself actually. I have, so what I've got planned, so I've got a fairly big build, that's the only thing I can say about that one, and that's coming in a week on Sunday, and then after that I've got a few smaller ones as well, so yeah. So this is, naturally I've gone for the Raptors colours, although there isn't actually a Raptors symbol in the game, which is annoying because it's on the transfer sheets now, so the fact that it's not in there, so I've gone for kind of like this ultramarine, this kind of tactically coloured ultramarine instead, but this is kind of the style of armor that I've gone for. A few of these are a little bit more leveled up. So the tactical's level 5, this level 7. I haven't really played much of the Vanguard, the Bulwark, or the Heavy, but I have been playing a lot of the Sniper, which is why his armor looks the fanciest. But yeah, the armor customization is quite nice. These are the full sets that you can unlock just through playing the game. There's different paint schemes, and all the paints as well are linked to the actual paint colours, which is quite nice little detail as well. So if you paint your miniatures in one particular colour, you can pretty much recreate those. The way that the paints work is a little bit odd though, because I have unlocked the Death Guard colours for this particular guy, and so I've unlocked Death Guard green, and like, why is that gold? That shouldn't be gold. That should be Rakoff flesh. So I've unlocked Death Guard green, and I've also unlocked Rakoff flesh, but I've only unlocked them as a tertiary. Rakoff flesh is a tertiary color, so that doesn't. So this is just like the trim colors. They're not like completely the same. So you couldn't have a full armor Rakoff. It's very much locked them into certain categories. But anyway, I really like the customization. It's pretty cool. There's some really nice. If I go to the heavy, and one of the DLC sets is like pretty. It's kind of a locked set. You can't really change any for that one, but it's got some nice armor, and as you progress, it gets more and more. So this is the I think this is more like a Dark Angels kind of style, whereas this one is a little bit more to my liking. He's got chest pouches, so that's it's the best ones. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. If at the moment, if you do have access to this, you know what, I actually think I've disabled crossplay. But if you did want to join me in some of these missions, then I will be happy to have you on board if you want to come along. If I can open the invite menu and I can actually put my okay. Okay, so it won't let me do it whilst I've got crossplay disabled, but I was just doing it because it was being a bit weird with some of the stuff. Sound up. Do you want the game sound or is it the audio sound that you're looking for? Voice sound or game sound? Is it in the Raptors paint scheme? So there isn't a Raptors paint scheme. So I'll quickly go and show you the heraldry whilst I just set this up. So you go into the heraldry. So you can basically, it's got predefined different chapters. You got all the legions here: World Eaters, Black Legion, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, and Alpha Legion. All those, and then you've got like a few kind of unknown founding chapters, and you can get the chapter symbols from all of these, so you can unlock them using the in-game currency that you win from playing the game. It's not like a pay to play currency. It's just like an actual currency. So you would buy the emblem, and then you would buy the color for the armor, and you can buy different emblems, and there's also different armor parts as well you can purchase. But there isn't any Raptors. So there is all the first founding chapters. There is all of the kind of the main ones you would expect. This is the Ultramarines DLC, so a lot of the successor chapters here. Now, if they keep releasing these DLCs, maybe if they do like a Raven Guard chapter pack, then that might have a few in there, but at the moment... Okay, audio, right, let's turn that up. Let's put that up to... How's that? Is that okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly quit to the title screen, and I'm going to enable crossplay just for this for the time being. You're welcome. You're very much welcome. Is Twitch actually working? Let's see if this is working, because I don't think it was. I was trying to... It says it's streaming to Twitch, but Twitch is just not showing anything at the moment, so let's refresh this page just in case it is. No. No. That's so weird. It has been a while, so it could be that my stream keys have expired. So let's try and get those settings. Stream. Try again. I'm not expecting it to work at the moment. It is like a little bit of a dodgy kind of third-party app that I'm using. So if it doesn't work, oh well, I'll have to sort it out next time. So apparently I'm live, so it's getting a signal of some sorts. Okay, we'll just make do. We'll make do. Anyway, let's just enable crossplay. So if you, like I said, if you have got the game and you would like to join me in the squad, then I will be happy to have you in my squad. You're on Twitch early and the screen is back. Yeah, I'm wondering if I might just stop the Twitch stream, and I might do something in the future. I think I might need to just add it completely fresh. Maybe if I delete that, add new target. We will get to the game eventually, guys, don't worry. we'll leave it. We'll approach that later on. We'll do that in the future. It's a shame because I would have liked to stream Twitch at the same time, but we'll just stick with YouTube for the time being. That's fine. Aura Fighter 95, hello, welcome. Hello, Ollie, as well. Right, so this, I'm not going to play as, if I go on to invite menu. Okay, so this is my invite code. So if you would like to join the squad, then you can do so by using this. I will leave that up for a little bit of time, so if you want to join it, that you can do. But yeah, otherwise I'll just join some randoms and so again. I've been doing okay with random people, so hopefully it should be quite nice. Missed Eidolon, thank you very much for the €5, much appreciated. Question: is multiplayer on, or is it at the text? There's like, is it at the end of early access? So I think multiplayer is on. I've not had a chance to play the PvP because there has been there has just not been enough players to kind of populate it. I've been playing the PvE, and there's kind of just been enough players to be playing that. You find a squad and you could play it against the bots. So I've not played the PvP multiplayer, but I've been playing a lot of the PvE multiplayer. So okay, so let's close that now, and we will get ready to join. We're going to start with let's change the class. So there are the classes that are available, and you can only have one of each class in the team. It's sort of three. So I've been playing a lot of the sniper, and the sniper's quite an interesting class because I'll quickly go through them. Let's quickly go through each of the classes. The tactical is what you'd expect. They have the largest array of weapon options going. They have a melter gun, they have plasma incinerators, bolt carbines, the stalker bolt rifle, heavy bolt rifle, auto bolt rifle, and then which one's that one? Just a bolt rifle, just a normal one. So they have the largest array of weapons available to them out of all the classes. They also have a ability for Auspex scanning, which gives them like an area effect where they do more damage to enemies, and there's a few extra items you can reveal through the perks. But your kind of other weapons are pretty limited, so these are your secondary weapons and combat weapon. The assault, as you would imagine, has a jetpack and is mainly so there are two types of combat of melee specialists in this one. The assault is probably the more of like the area effect. I always find they're more of like the blunt instruments, whereas the Vanguard is also quite whenever I've seen people playing this class, I've not really played it much, but they use them more as like more of a scalpel, whereas the assault is more of a sledgehammer. So they do have pretty good melee skills. They can zoom into melee pretty quickly, and they kind of pick out some of the higher enemies, the more high value enemies among the crowds of foot soldiers. Bulwark is the defensive expert. They have lots of kind of cool abilities for holding a location, restoring the armor of their squad. They have the shield, which allows them to block, and they also have access to some pretty good combat weapons as well. They're only class that has access to the power sword as well, which is quite nice. Sniper, as I said, is very much the long. So the sniper and the heavy are kind of linked. The heavy is very much a heavy weapons expert. Heavy bolter, heavy plasma incinerator, or a multi-melter. So quite a heavy character, and then I keep saying heavy. And then the sniper is my favorite one. They have a camo cloak ability, so they can quickly get out of problems. They also kind of end up acting as a medic as well. So that's quite nice. You can customize them on the perk trees. So there's a few of these which will enable you to do some fun stuff. So I'm going to play. So I've been playing on this one. So the game mode that I've been playing on. So there are 6 operations that you can play as. Some of these will be spoiling elements of the campaign a little bit, but not too much. So you don't need to worry if you want to play through the campaign. It does reveal a few things. So I'll try and play maybe some of the early ones if I can. And each of these has... Each of these are kind of set out. There's 6 different missions, and you unlock them as you play through the campaign. So you think you do need to play the full campaign to unlock all of them, but I think you can join other people's games even if you haven't unlocked them yourself. There are 4 different difficulty modes, as you can see from the top right, the 4 icons, and you can see that I've completed some of them on level 3 difficulties, and some of them are completed on 1. Some missions are better than others. This one's quite a nice one. This one is fun, but there's quite an annoying mechanic in there. But these ones are, I think, probably the more difficult missions personally. This one's quite a tricky one as well. So we're not going to play on the full ability. There's going to be a lot of new players, so I don't think there'll be anyone who is high enough level. So these are the different difficulties: minimal, average, substantial, and ruthless. They do have a recommended level cap as well. So we're going to play on average, I think, just to make things a little bit more interesting. Let's do a quick match. We'll see if anyone else has got a game coming on. So there's a couple of games. So now this is the thing. Hopefully this works, because I've noticed that there's been some issues with joining some of the servers when it's been cross-played, when it's been like on just one. Hopefully it loads, because this is the problem I was having earlier. It's been fine up until now, but as soon as cross-play is enabled and I try to join Xbox and PlayStation players, it just doesn't seem to work. Warden, no Raptors or heraldry yet. No, so there is only Unknown Foundings, Ultramarine Successor Chapters, and the First Founding, the Chaos Legions, and the First Founding Space Marine chapters that are available for heraldry. So I'm kind of running mine as Raptors with Ultramarine shoulder pads instead, which it's not as good as Raptors, but it's still pretty fun. Still enjoying it. So let's close it. So Twitch is unfortunate, because Twitch actually has Twitch drops enabled. So if you have the game, you can... I've got a sneaking suspicion that this isn't working, which is the problem that I had last time, and why I shouldn't have disabled crossplay. If it doesn't sort itself out, then what I'll do is I don't think it's working. Okay, I'm going to close the game, and I'm going to disable crossplay, and we'll just play it like that, because I think there's been a few more people joining in today, and it's just one of those... It's weird, because I've been playing it with people on the Xbox and the PlayStation, no problem. But, yeah, odd. Hopefully it's all fixed by the time the game comes out properly next Monday, I think. 9th, whenever the 9th is. It's 5th today. Right. So apparently the game is stopping. Okay. Right. Let's go. Try this again. Crossplay was the only thing I was worried about. Yeah, it like I said, it was working up until today, when it kind of went live to all the people who got the Ultra Edition or the Gold Edition, whichever one it was that gave you early access. It seemed to work okay, but there was an update today, and that seems to have broken it. So I don't know if that's intentional or what. We'll hopefully see it. But you can just disable the crossplay, and there's still quite enough players on each platform anyway. So. I need to put Tjark from Tacticus into this game as a custom legendary Vanguard class. That'd be pretty cool, actually, yeah, because he's got he's a, what are they called? Reaver. So yeah, you can pretty much do that. The customization is quite nice. One of the things that I'm hoping for really is that as the game progresses and as we get more and more, right, let's see if we can get this game back on. Oh, we had it for a second. There we go. We're back. Okay, well, that was a little bit easier this time. So let's turn off the crossplay first. Hey Beats, I thought about the game's customizer. It could be useful to design custom chapters a bit easier, couldn't it? It could do, yeah. The only thing which is a hindrance, unfortunately, is the fact that you. So as you play each of these operations, you unlock experience for your class. You unlock experience for the weapons you used, and you will also get a number of coins as well for completing the mission. Now, it does seem to be like a set number of coins, and that's based on the difficulty that you play. And you use those coins to unlock new weapons as well as new perks. So you will often find yourself using your coins for those as opposed to using them for like the skins and the marks. So if you wanted to unlock a whole bunch of them and kind of give yourself that freedom, it would take quite a while. I think the way it should have worked, I think it would have been worked better if it was gave you the option to unlock stuff via, so you could unlock all the colours for a particular chapter in one go rather than having to unlock them. So an average, yeah, rather than having to unlock them. So if we see the animation here, okay, so it's going to work this time. Also, the models and the setting in this game is just fantastic. Seeing this on here just really makes me want to Games Workshop just to release a Thunderhawk in plastic, because it's such a cool looking model, and there's kind of like there's interiors modeled in there as well. But yeah, there we go, working a little bit better this time, which is good. Not fun having the colours locked. Yeah, you do get a few options. You get a few of like the basic Ultramarines ones. But yeah, you do. They're not expensive. They're about 10 to 20 coins, and you can probably get 30 to 40 depending on what. So yeah. Right, so we get a few options. I'm going to play as a sniper in this one. This is the class that I'm probably the most familiar with, so we're going to be playing this. Yeah, hopefully I can show off how good I've been getting at this game. If you enjoy Dark Souls games, the parry mechanics are actually quite nice, because it gives you the options to kind of go toe-to-toe with some of the enemies, especially with the class that I'm using. They have a combat knife, so they have a combat knife and a bolt pistol. So there's like parry attacks and perfect dodges and stuff. Let's see if we can encourage this guy. And obviously we've got the executions as well. I'm probably going to be blitzing through a few of these warriors quite easily, simply because I have a few of the unlocked weapons, which are a difficulty level higher than this one. So especially the bolter that I've got, it's pretty powerful, to say the least. So fully expect me to take these down a little bit quicker than you would do when you join the game for the first time. I'll try and pick up a few tips as well. This is the first operation, so this is quite a nice one. You only fight Tyranids on this one. So if you play this first mission and you get to this little bit where there's a hill, there's usually something fun here, depending on what difficulty you're playing on. So I'm just going to pick up the Medicae stims, which is the only way of regaining health reliably. Whenever you see these boxes, you can just do a forward roll into them. They usually have something, an armor boost in this case. And there's also a data slate there, which is like a little bit of a lore dump, if you're interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, there's been a few things I've seen people doing in the game and not really noticing that there are those boxes and they do contain stuff, so always try and roll into them. The same goes for having a look around sometimes for some fun little extra items. There are Gene Seed, which give you extra XP if you carry them to the end of the game, and there's also something called Armory Data. Now normally the Gene Seed that I found is around this area, but it can change. Also, if you press, I don't know what it is on the keyboard, but if you press up on the D-pad, it marks stuff. There's normally a Gene Seed cache here. There's a couple of places that can spawn here and a little bit further along. So that is the little blue thing that you see there is like the parry window. So that's more of the telegraphed kind of parry ability, and that's quite good because you'll see a little blue arrow appear from behind sometimes. So let's see if we can get this warrior into combat. Oh no, he's getting distracted by the actual assault class there. try not to get in those guys' way. So we have, in this class, we have a we have the heavy. So they're currently equipped with, I think, I can't see from here, but it's either a multi-melter, a heavy bolter, or a plasma incinerator. What have we got? We've got the multi-melter. Interesting choice. The multi-melter is kind of a weird, it's like a really heavy shotgun. Oh yeah, just roll to break the boxes. Yeah, it's actually the most reliable way of completely breaking the boxes. I don't know why. I don't know. It's usually, maybe if you've got a thunder hammer, it's quite easy to do so if you're playing as the assault class. But if not, just roll. It's quick as well. There are also a few other, you won't see it on this one, but if you're playing against any of the human enemies, the small human enemies, then you can basically just roll into them to crush them with your weight. It doesn't work on the gaunts, but on the human enemies, you can literally just roll into them and smush them, which is quite nice when you're quite close up and you're running out of ammo. You just roll into them and just crush them. It's all good fun. I think once the game comes out, I'm going to recreate my custom chapter, the Silver Serpents, who are Space Marines that specialise in long-distance melee with a spear. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, it does give you all of the options as well in Space Marine paint. So, okay, so this is a Ravener enemy. So I did miss the prompt then. So you have this kind of almost like a little quick time event just to break out of it. So hopefully I can try and get into some of the combat abilities. So you have like a parry ability, and if you time it just right, you do get to almost like stop the attacks, and you can also, so here we go, you see the red arrow? And we can do the parry attack, it'll attack again, and this is a gun strike, so you can see the little red crosshairs pop up, and it gives you like a free pistol hit, which is restores some of your armor, and also damages the enemy as well. So the Raveners will burrow underneath the ground, just kind of pop up. There are also lictors as well. They're quite nasty if you're not paying attention. So yeah, this class is the essentially the Eliminator archetype, and if you think about Eliminators in the game, he literally has the same weapon options as them. He has the bolter, is it the Oculus bolt rifle? I can't remember now. You have the Las Fusil as well, which is the kind of the mini las gun, well, las cannon sniper rifle, and you also have the bolt sniper rifle as well. So you get some quite options, but I really like this particular weapon over the other two, just because it's a lot faster and you can kind of get involved and get a little bit closer to the enemies, and especially on the Tyranid enemies, there are a lot of Tyranid enemies at times, and having a little bit of a faster ability to pump out some fast bolter shots is quite nice. So yeah, quite a large number of warriors there. So you notice there are a couple of different warrior archetypes. There are some which have the barb stranglers. There are some which have bone swords, and there are some which have the whips as well. And they all kind of work slightly differently. The guardian relics as well. The bone swords can kind of block your ranged fire, so they will really hone in on you, and you've got to almost like engage them in combat. There are some abilities which can pierce armor, but most of the time, most normal bolter fire isn't going to do much to them. And the whip armed warriors, they will pull you towards. So they're quite nasty if you're a ranged character, because they will just whip you and then kind of lasso you in and pull you forward towards them. Which, if you're not ready for that, can be quite annoying, because it can pull you into a whole horde of gaunts, which is not fun. There are also a couple of types of gaunts as well. There are Hormogaunts and Termogaunts, or Termagants, I should say. The ranged characters in these games are actually, you can see one there. There's with a flesh borer, if I remember rightly. Yeah, flesh borers. Is it a flesh borer? I don't know enough about Tyranid weapons. I don't even know about Space Marine weapons half the time. Thanks for joining, Fedu Gaming. Thank you very much for tuning in. Yeah, so the blue circles are... You kind of get used to them, but they do take up quite a lot of the screen, and sometimes... Here's a lictor. So it looks like we've managed to get rid of that one pretty quickly, which is fortunate. The blue circles can be annoying, but when you have a whole load of stuff going on, they're quite nice. You can see one of the bone sword warriors here, so let's try and engage them in some combat, close combat. So there are more obvious parries, and then there's less obvious ones, but you can parry them all. A little bit too heavy for me there. So I'm going to use my cloak ability to revive this assault class here. This is where the camo cloak is probably the most useful for healing enemies, because you just completely lose aggro, and it also have a perk which allows your characters to give them temporary camo cloak for a little bit as well, which is quite nice. Oh, we've got 2 enemies down, 2 of the characters down, so I've got to survive long enough to keep these guys going now. So this is usually the most effective way of gaming, because you can still reload whilst you... I'm hoping my thingy camo cloak restores. Let's just get some armor back. If we can get a little bit of camo cloak, I can get these guys back. There we go. So I did a perfect roll, so I got a little bit of camo cloak back for that one. Let's see if we can get these guys. Right, okay. So, I don't think I'm going to manage it. Okay, so unfortunately those 2 guys, I wasn't able to rescue them in time. So that basically means that what will happen now, as you can see on the left, they're in a countdown mode. So until I get to the next checkpoint, they won't respawn, or when the countdown ends. So I'm just going to rush to the next checkpoint for this point. I would suspect that this is probably because it's a brand new game, so there's quite a few players who are maybe playing on difficulties that their classes aren't ready for. Pick this up. These, I would normally show you the weapons that you can do. You can swap your weapons mid-game, so you can have some presets. So my guy should reappear now. Come through here. Yeah, there we go. So they should be back now. With any luck. There we go. Okay. So you can see the bone swords in use here, but it doesn't take much to break them. It's the Star Wars Outlaws. I have played Star Wars Outlaws, and I played it for a bit, and I just kept playing it. I just decided to play Space Marine instead. It's been interesting because the reviews have gone live for the Space Marine, and it's quite interesting to see what the reviews have been like. Personally, some of them feel like the negatives that they've been... some of the negatives are justified, and I can see why they've said that. The campaign is quite short, especially by modern comparisons for games, but sometimes I do feel that campaigns can be a little bit dragged out. So it's been quite nice to have a campaign which is as long as it needs to be, offers enough variation within it, and gives you plenty of different options. It does feel like the campaign builds quite nicely as you play the game as well. It starts out pretty straightforward. A lot of the objectives seem straightforward, but then as it kind of ramps up the stakes, it also gives you more stuff and more cool stuff to do as the game, the campaign progresses. These operations that we're doing as well, you might see Titus drop in on the Vox every now and again. Basically, the campaign missions are playing simultaneously to the missions that we're doing here. We're essentially like in a little side squad that are going off to help them, while Titus is completing the main campaign. Your little squad is being sent out and tasked with doing secondary objective, either to help him or to kind of draw attention to the enemies whilst he's doing more of a stealthy incursion. So the red circles you can see there, you have to dodge those. You can't block those. The blue ones you can, but not all of the attacks that you can block will be telegraphed. So you do have to pay attention sometimes, especially when you're closer to an enemy. You can't always rely on the fact that that the blue will show up, especially when you're close by. So we're just going to clear these. So I don't know what the other guys are, but I'm currently defending this on my own. So hopefully nothing goes wrong. I've got a couple of medipacks, so as long as I keep in attention to that. Okay, I think we did it. Okay, so we can carry on. This, you can see this little signal here. This is basically a sentry. So when that happens, you have to kind of shoot them enough to break their summoning of new waves and things like that. So as the range character, that normally is my job to take them out from a distance, but this one does require, this mission does. So you can see another one there, so I can basically zoom in and I can try and put enough damage in there to break it. Unfortunately, oh yeah, I did. Target neutralized. Cool. Right, so we are moving on to the next section. What's the odds they'll release campaign DLC in your opinion? So I don't want to kind of spoil too much at the end, but I would say that the end's quite open-ended, so it could well be opening the doors for more campaign missions. It's hard to say, but there is definitely some hints towards. As well, in this game, there's very little point in hanging around. So these guys here are just kind of shooting stuff. There's no point hanging around. Once you can move on to the next section, the enemies will just keep coming. So let's try and get us moved along nicely here. There we go. Okay, cool. If you've played things like Vermintide or Darktide, you'll understand that sometimes you just need to move on to the next section. Otherwise, if you stand around, then you'll just keep getting attacked by hordes of enemies. Which is fun, but you've only got finite amounts of resources, so you don't want to be running out of ammo or health packs or grenades or anything when you need them. So this is where I should be doing my work, kind of taking out some, especially some of the long-range characters. You can see the I can never remember the Tyranid weapons. There is the kind of the cone one that's got the holes in it. That's those. You can see the little. I would like if someone lets me know in the chat. I would be very grateful. I can never remember the Tyranid warrior weapons. I know there's bone swords. I know there's Bob Stranglers. What is that one? You can see it there. Devourer, that's it. Okay, cool. So, so that's the Devourer. There is also the larger cannon weapon as well, which I can never remember it is either. Which is this kind of sniper one. You can see it there. You're playing a Raptor or Salamander. I'm playing as my kind of Poundland version of a Raptor. He does actually have a Ultramarine shoulder pad at the moment, but maybe he's been seconded to the Ultramarines to teach them some actual tactics. But yeah, he does actually have an Ultramarine shoulder pad just for... because I haven't unlocked any other markings apart from the Ultramarine one. So it's either blank or an Ultramarine. So I've gone for an Ultramarine at the moment. Venom Cannon, that's it. Thank you very much. So yeah, you have the warriors that've got Devourers, you've got warriors that've got Venom Cannons, Bone Swords, and the Whips. And you can see there, they've got the Flesh Borer Gaunt. I think there are also some... oh, there's also Spore Mines as well, which are kind of like... oh, we've got a Zoanthrope, which is great as this character, because I get bonuses for headshots, and they're just mostly a head, so... Game sound up 10%. Okay, let's get it up to literally 10%. It was at 69, so I've put it to... let's put it up to 77. There you go. See how that goes. See,
run distraction efforts as long as you can.
Your plan is sound, brother.
So you can see how Titus dropped in there. That's because this is kind of happening simultaneously to one of the missions that you're playing in the game. And as you're playing the campaign missions, the characters from this mission will be talking to Titus at the same time. So it's quite nice. It kind of brings in the operations mode. It makes everything nicely tied together, which is quite good. So coming up to quite close to the end of the mission now. We've basically got this little section here. We go down some stairs, and then we have a nice little kind of ending set piece for the operation. So each operation has its own kind of final bit. This one is just basically survive a wave of enemies. Quite nice and straightforward. Oh, so this is the armory data. This is what we need. So that's good. Glad we got that. So you always got to be looking out for the armory data and things like gene seed, as they will just make things a little bit better. This is your little weapons drop, so you can change your presets. So there's a last few sill, bolt sniper rifle, and there's a stalker bolt rifle, which is the version I've gone for here. Also, top tip, if you ever see one of these and you just reselect the loadout you're currently equipped with, you'll actually refresh all of your ammunition as well. So it basically works as an ammo box too, which is quite useful when there isn't always an ammo box. There is also four different types of grenades. I forgot one of them. There are frag grenades, which are, as you'd expect, good for general area of effect. There are crack grenades, which are basically sticky grenades. They're really good for when you go up against more of the warriors and power armored enemies later on. Shot grenades kind of create a lasting area of effect, which slows down any enemies that walk through them. So that kind of becomes almost necessary for some of these Tyranid hordes. Just kind of slowing them down a little bit. And you also have the melter bombs, which is what I've got here. So the melter bombs are very much you kind of like a C4 kind of style, as you would see in another game. You would place the melter bomb, and then you detonate it when you want it to go off. So it works very well in this particular class, because you can use your stealth ability to drop it in the middle of a horde, get out of there, and then just explode it, which is quite fun. Spine fists are the pistol equivalent. The Bob Strangler is the larger weapon for the warriors. So yeah, we've got the hordes going on here. There's also these little nice environmental things as well. So if I just ignite this here. Right, let's try and get some one-on-one combat with this guy. There's also a cool ability as well. If you kill a warrior when it's near some gaunts, then it'll kind of... the synapse will basically... the synapse kind of aftershock will kill the gaunts. On the lower difficulties, you can see the green, like, lightning energy there. On the low difficulties, it kills them outright. On the higher difficulties, it kind of stuns them for a bit, which is still quite nice, because it just slows down a horde, and especially when you're in the middle of one, it's often better to try and ignore the gaunts and just go for the warriors instead. So let's try and get this guy up here. Probably didn't need that, actually. Not many enemies around. Oh. You can see why the blue thing is quite useful sometimes. Right. Very close to death myself there. So you can see this guy's got like a more... I think he's got Dark Angels or Salamanders? I can't quite tell. Salamanders. This looks like a Carcharodon. That's pretty cool. So you can see these shock grenades there. That's what that effect looks like when it's been used. Right, let's pop one of these melter bombs down for now, and then we can use it later on. Hopefully we'll have something. Well, let's try and draw some people this way. Do not underestimate the roll. The roll works better for these Phobos armored characters. I'm not going to waste it on gaunts. I'm going to try and... try and draw a warrior down here. literally non-common now after all that. Right, can we get some coming up? Okay, there might get a warrior coming up soon. It's the most like anticlimactic bomb ever. I think we need the end actually as well. Oh, we might get some coming up. There we go. You can see that there's a couple of warriors there. So that's right. Okay, we can do it. Come on, come on. No, this way, come on. This way. There we go. It's probably a lot more. It would have been much easier just to shoot them at that point, but I just really wanted to get the melter bomb off. It works well for some of the larger boss enemies that you face, because you can just place it down. You can almost lure them into combat with you, and then you just roll away and blow them off, which is also good fun. So the current chapter is a sort of Raptors knockoff. I don't have any Raptors iconography, so I've just gone for Raptors colours with a ultramarine shoulder pad for the time being, which kind of works. It also kind of works quite nicely because you're working with the Ultramarines in this, whether or not you are, because you're always going to be playing with Titus in the background. So yeah, you do end up, it makes sense that it maybe have been, I don't know.
You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards.
Alright, so we're done. That was the operation. That was the first operation you would play normally. It's quite a straightforward one, a nice simple one. Generally speaking, the set pieces of each operation are the same. There are different points where enemies spawn, and as you play the higher difficulties, you'll start to face like bosses, like mini bosses within the game as well. So the Neurothrope was probably the closest that we had on this one. There isn't really many on these difficulties, but the higher the difficulty you go, you'll start facing random Hell Brutes and Carnifexes and all sorts just in a mission, which, as you imagine, can be quite difficult at times. So, but no, it's good. So this is the Carcharodon colours, and you can see the shoulder pad as well, and there's also a Salamander there as well. So yeah, it's quite nice. It gives you options to kind of represent your own chapter. You can make your own as well. You can go for the main ones. There are quite a few nice iconographies as well, because a lot of the chapters share iconography. You could do probably some quite nice successor chapters, and you can change the colours of the icons as well. So if you do have a chapter which has a particular iconography, then you can just do that if you want to instead. So we have this nice little post-game section. When it loads, and you can see how the progression works in this as well. What's nice is you also still get some experience. Even if you fail a mission, you get experience for however far you kind of go along, which is good. I love that you can use other classes, customizations, helmets and stuff like that. Yeah, so they do seem to be very locked off and limited to the class-specific armor types. There is obviously a little bit of sort of crossover, but I think they wanted to make them visually very distinct so that when you're playing in a team, you can kind of quickly look at one of your teammates and understand exactly what it is that they. So this is kind of the breakdown for the level. I've got quite a few of the top ones, which makes sense because I've been playing this game for a lot longer than probably a lot of people have so far. So that's nice to rank up, and that should unlock me another perk as well. Yeah. So these are the items. So whenever you play an operation, you just tend to unlock an armor piece for that particular class. This is the armory data that's used for upgrading your weapons, and then we also have some of the requisition resources, which is what we use for buying things. We also will unlock some experience for some of the weapons as well. What I'll do is I'll leave the squad from here. They're pretty fun squad to play with. Pretty nice, but we'll leave this one for now, and we will have a quick look at how the customization looks like. I need a beaky helmet for your Marines. Yeah, I don't actually think there is any. Thinking about it, I think I've gone through most of them, but based on the roadmap, there's still quite a lot of wiggle room for things like extra armor and stuff like that to be added in the future, which is quite nice. And it'd be interesting to see. They have so the current the first DLC they have is like all the Space Marine successor chapters. So I'm hoping that in the future we'll see some maybe other chapters and maybe operations specific to them. That'd be fun. So this is the armoring hall. This is where you do all of your... So there's no menus really, everything's kind of like in-game. So you're on the battle barge here, there's a lot of Ultramarines, so it kind of makes sense to have Ultramarine iconography. I don't know what these are, but I believe... My guess is that they're the sarcophagi for the Dreadnoughts. And there is actually one of the missions which plays with the Dreadnought. I'm tempted to play that. Could show the chapters you're playing as. So, you can't see the shoulder pad here, so what I'll do is, let's go to edit armor so you can see, because I've got two edits. So these are all the different elements that you can change. I'm going to quickly change the war gear to a different cloak. Oh, I've unlocked a new cloak. There you go. So these are, as you play along, you can kind of unlock different cloak types, because I am a exterminator type. No, eradicators, not eradicators. So you have the same kind of access to the weaponries and also the chameleon cloak. So I've unlocked this really big cloak at the moment. So you start off with quite a nice little small cloak. I don't know, it seems too small to be doing anything, but that's what I'm going for here. Let's equip this one for the time being so you can see the shoulder pads. So you can change all of these as you progress. You can unlock more stuff. I'm particularly looking forward to this one because this is very much on theme for the chapters that I like to play as, but this one's pretty good. The braid across the chest is a little bit too much for me personally, but there are some quite nice options. This one's pretty cool as well. So you can buy this one actually. I'm tempted to buy the Death Watch. So if we go to the heraldry, yeah. So this is the depending on. Right, I'll quickly break it. I explained this at the beginning, but I think a few people have joined and left since. So this is the heraldry. So this is broken down by each of the first founding chapters, all the main kind of legions, and then there is also the Black Templars in there as well. So for each of these that you click on, I don't know why you can purchase different emblems, and you can also purchase the colours. But annoyingly, you do have to purchase the previous item, so you can't just go in and buy the colours, which is annoying, but yeah. So you can get each of these Dark Angels, White Scars, Ultramarines. These are different shoulder emblems. You could also unlock different quartered patterns as well. So if you want to have like half and half or quarter patterns, you can do that. There are color packs and icon packs for the Chaos Legions as well. I've personally gone for the Death Guard, so I had to unlock the icon pauldron to get Death Guard green, which is what the colour of my Marines are, and the Rakkar flesh is what I use for the trim. You also have like the old style one as well, which is quite nice if you want to run almost a little bit like the Loyalist Marines that I had as well. The ones that I did I've got on my shelf there, but I don't want to get them down. You have all of the unknown ones, so some pretty well known. So you've got Carcharodons. There is also the Blood Ravens as well. So Hellstorm Mikey will be happy about those. Red Scorpions, Minotaurs, Mega Marines, and Exorcists as well. So they're quite well known. And this is like the DLC pack that they have. This is all of the successor, well, some of the main successor chapters for the what am I talking about? For the Ultramarines. So they're the packs that you can buy, but you can actually customize the colors more than that. So if you go into this, so these are all like the preset ones. You can see the quartered one. There's quartered emblems there. There's some pretty cool ones. There's the one in here. Size of the Emperor. I think that looks pretty cool. That's quite a nice one. Or you can make your own. So this is basically what I've done here. I have got mainly gone for Death Guard green, but you can then break out each of the different items. So if you want your helmet to be a slightly different colour, if you want to go for like an orange helmet instead, or red to denote a sergeant or anything like that, you can do so. You can kind of preview what stuff looks like as well before you apply it. And you can also change emblems too, so all the different emblems. So if you want to have some loyalist world eaters, you can do that. Different emblems, and these are the patterns as well. So if I go for this here, you can see that you can have a half and half pattern, and you can have a quartered pattern as well. So yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, so just a Rapture and on secondment to the Ultramarines. That's basically the way I've gone for this. So I've gone for the Ultramarine blue shoulder pad, but there isn't really any icons that could easily represent the Raptor. So I'm hoping that they get added in, because it does seem like quite a straightforward thing to add, but maybe they just kind of, I suppose I could fudge it a little bit and have a Raven Guard. That would also make sense. That would make sense. How much will that cost me? 30 requisition, but I've got 165. It's tempting. And I could go full. Yeah. Pete, I've met you in person. Do you remember me? Where did we meet? I meet a lot of people. I'm terrible with names. I do apologize, but normally I can usually remember when I've spoken to people. I've been to quite a few conventions and events, and I've met quite a few people, so I do always forget. Warhammer World. When in Warhammer World? I've been to Warhammer World a few times and met a few people. The conversion competition. Okay. Yes, I remember that one. You made your walker with the dwarf. Oh, wow. That was... This one. See if we can get it to focus on that. This one. Is it going to focus? Not going to focus? Yeah, okay, yeah. I think I remember you, actually. That was a while ago. That was... When was that? That was last year? Last year, the year before? Something like that? It was quite a while. I remember you. You're quite young, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I do think I remember you. How have you been? Have you been able to go to Warhammer World since? Entered any of the competitions? There's been quite a few since. I think this... So the one that I entered last was the Age of Sigmar one. That was the Age of Sigmar one. How long has that been unpainted then? So yeah, so this one is... When was this one? There's a lot of unpainted stuff. There's still like... There are still unpainted heavy incest on my desk from one of the previous... From one of the last streams that we did on the heavy incestors. So yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff on my desk that's unpainted, to be fair. What else is there? There's the... What else? Oh, there's a Balthanos as well. So this is a video which I never kind of finished, which is... I'll just go on face. Like a Nurgle-Neth Balthanos. The focus does not want to work very well on this. I think it's the lighting's not very good up close. Kind of... Yeah. Balthanos on my desk. He's been that way since the game was released, so... Yeah. But yeah, anyway, there are quite a few different cool outfits that you can go for. Outfits, not outfits. Styles. Let's reset that cape. Yeah, it's the new one that I unlocked, so I want to make sure I can represent it. There we go, so yeah, generally speaking, I've put in about 25 hours or so into the game now. And I've completed the campaign, and I've played quite a lot of this operations, but I've not played much of the these are cool helmets as well. I like that one. I've not played any of the version, the PvP version, but to be honest, everything that I've played so far, I've probably an attack that breaks camo, cloak, you remain hidden for 2 seconds. I'm going to stick with this one. So the way these perks work is that you can have one perk from each column, and as you go along, you unlock new ones. This will be the next one I earn, and then it'll be from the left here going all the way along. Some of these are based on your playstyle. So for these 3 here, so you have bolt sniper rifles and stalker bolt rifles, bolt carbines, and then you also have the last few still as well. So you would equip the perk based on what you have, and it does tend to lean into whatever playstyle you want. Some of them are more kind of close range based, so some of the medic stuff as well that allows you to heal, revive your downed teammates faster, give them camo and cloak when you do so, and the stuff which gives you more melee ability. So you can really gear the classes to whatever playstyle you want to. I've got the most experience with the sniper class, but the assault's quite nice. The assault is less nuanced. The jetpack's pretty cool, pretty fun, but most of the abilities that you unlock for this one are just, do you use a hammer, do you use a power fist, do you use it's not quite as nuanced as some of the other ones. The Vanguard class is quite, I've seen quite a few people use this quite well. I've not played it at all myself. I've not played I've played the trials, which unlock you a few items, so I know how to play them if I have to, and I've played the heavy a little bit. The heavy is fun. The heavy is very, very straightforward. You just sit there with a heavy bolter or a plasma incinerator or a multi-melter and just destroy as much stuff as you can, and you get an iron halo which creates like a little force field around you and your team. But yeah, tactical, I think, I've played tactical quite a bit, and the tactical is surprisingly interesting because you can get so much weaponry choices. I mean, just the fact that you can run a plasma incinerator is pretty fun, because it's the only class that can have access to it apart from the heavy, but then you also have access to close combat weapons, so it gives you more of a rounded, as you would expect from a tactical marine. The weird thing about the Vanguard is that one of the weapons you can be equipped with is the melter rifle, which doesn't make sense really to me, because I don't think there are any. All of the other weapon options make sense, especially in the tabletop side of things as well. Power fist, chainswords, thunder hammers. Power fist, chainsword, power sword, combat knife. Everything else makes sense. The Vanguard. So I don't really know how that works personally. I don't know if that's. I need to make sure I don't mess up my classes. I'm not a big fan of the melter rifle. I've not only really used it in the campaign, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I've seen people using it, which is interesting. Bulwark, Black Templar is the way. Yeah, so this is the thing, really. What you could. I'll quickly show you some of the armor options as well for this, because what's quite nice about the color schemes where it gets applied to these. So when you've played it quite a bit, there are some really nice. I mean, this is very much like Black Templar. There are, I think, some chained gauntlets as well. Yeah, so if you mix and match some of these armor styles, so you could take the chest from one, you can take the helmet from another, the shoulder pads from another one, and mix and match. But this one, the chains, is very Black Templar. So if I can only preview it from the classes that from the armor that I've unlocked. But if we go to where is Black Templars? Iron Hands, Raven Guard. There we go. So if you really want to kind of go down the path of color coding each of your classes based on a particular chapter, I think that'd be pretty cool. Black Templars for this would work very well. Assault would work quite nice as Blood Angels, I think. Vanguard, probably Space Wolves, actually, I think would be quite nice. Bulwark, Black Templars, Raptors, best one. Heavy, Imperial Fist, quite straightforward. Either that or Salamanders would work well as well, and then the Tactical Marine could pretty much whatever you want it to be. So yeah. Is there any other classes? Are there any classes that anyone would like to see play? How they play in the game? Like I said, I've played each of them. I'm better at some of them than others, but I I kind of have enough of experience. If you want to see how a particular class plays, then I'll be happy to run one of those in a mission if you want me to. Assault and Vanguard. I don't know if I can't do. Can I do a poll actually? Let's have a look. Can't remember if you can do polls on this actually. Never remember how to do it. Ah, start a poll. Okay, right. So, ask a question. Which? Oops. Just tell us which class. So we have. Let me get back on that. I don't think I have this many. It's tactical. We have assault. Vanguard. I don't know how many options we can add. I will leave the sniper out of this just because you've already seen that one. So, okay, so I'll take the tactical out because I can't actually have that many options. So I'll take tactical out and I'll just have heavy. Okay. So they're the more interesting classes. The tactical class is actually really good fun. It's a really solid class to run, but I think that it's not necessarily the most interesting to see. So yeah, vote about which one you would most like me to see in the next mission. What are you playing on? And if you're on PC, what are the specs? So I have I forget what it is now. It's a GeForce RTX 3070 that I use, and it's been running pretty good. I'm not at like the full specs, or if you, I don't know if I can see them from here. I think it's one of those ones where you have to go to the title screen to change them. But yeah, I'm not even on like the full extremes, to be fair, and the frame rate's quite nice, and it looks pretty good. It looks really good actually. There's a lot of stuff which is really nice. Like even cloth simulation isn't on full, so yeah, it's been running quite nicely. It's quite warm. That's the only thing. It's running quite hot at the moment. Would love a helmet for Minotaurs, like your kit bash video. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I think there's definitely room to easily add extra stuff on. So what are we looking at the polls so far? So heavy is currently the one that's winning. So let's go for heavy. I'm going to stick with the heavy bolter, mainly because the heavy bolter is... I've also got the nice looking one as well from the DLC. Can I, if I master this, yeah, I'll use one on my armory data to master that one. And let's go for weapons cooldown 50%, weapon heating decreases 10%. Let's go for this one. Fast venting, they cool 15% faster. Right, let's give it a go. Now, heavy ends up being quite a popular class, so if we don't end up... If when we join a mission, it ends up that someone else is already playing as the heavy, I'll switch to the second one that wins. I'll try and do the heavy next time. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of the... I'm also going to change the difficulty down because I've not got as much of a higher level for this guy. So yeah, this guy's got Gravis armor. As you can see, pretty hefty fellow. One of the things I think they've done incredibly well with this game is just really locking down the movement of the Space Marines, because they do feel incredibly heavy when you kind of hear the clunks of them walking. And when they're running, when they're sprinting, they don't necessarily like sprint like a human does. They almost like, I don't want to say skip, but it's more like they almost like, how can I explain it? When you're watching long jumpers, when they're about to jump and they almost do that, the hops that they do, it's kind of like skipping, isn't it, really? But they almost like do short leaps. Okay, so the heavy's available, which is good. So we're going to play as the heavy. Straight in to a mission. We're starting this mission mid-game. This one is quite a fun one. So the effect that you can see on me at the moment is like a psychic effect. So when you take a few too many hits from the psychic enemies. Which one? Oh, this one's actually a really good fun one, this one, if I remember correctly. Is this one on the bridge? It is the one on the bridge. Okay. I'm not going to spoil it. Well, the game will probably spoil it halfway through, but this is a pretty good mission, this one is. Let's get some ammo, and does anyone want this? Does anyone want it? Everyone else has got full, so I'll take it. Yeah, so this is another good example of the variations that is available. Some of the criticism that a bit laid against it is that there isn't much variations in the missions. Now, there are only 6, admittedly. So this is the Iron Halo, so this is kind of blocking damage that comes through, and with there being quite a lot of ranged attacks coming this way, it's just helping out my squad advance up. The Heavy's probably the most straightforward classes in the game, to be fair. What's interesting, though, is he actually doesn't have any additional armor. So you can see the blocks that you can see just below the health bar at the top left. If you are wearing Gravis or Tacticus armor, then you can get armor boost there, which gives you 4. If you have Gravis or Tacticus, you have 3 armor blocks. If you're wearing Phobos armor, you have only 2, but you do tend to be a little bit more agile from what I suspect. I don't know if it's just the perception of it, or whether or not it's actually a genuine effect, but it does seem to be that way. But yeah, the Gravis doesn't actually have any additional armor. The Bulwark is... Bulwark? I'll go Bulwark. Has the shield, which allows them to block, so they do tend to be probably the toughest out of all of the classes, but they not through having armor or anything like that. It's literally just because they have the shield and they can block with it. Oh, there we go. Armory data. Perfect. That's what we need. It's always good to have a quick look around to find some extra ammo. And as you increase in the difficulties as well, you'll find that there is fewer and fewer of these drops. So you need to be a lot more sparing as you carry on the game, and you need to almost kill enough enemies as you can to get to the next section and then move on from there, because hanging around just wasting ammunition on enemies is just not frugal use of ammunition in this game. Can you run out of ammo? Yes, you can run out of ammo. Yes, so the bit at the bottom is my ammo counter for this heavy bolter. You probably have more ammo than most other classes do in the game, and there is, especially on these lower difficulties, a little bit more ammo available. So I'm just going to pick up the extra ammo box. I think, what have we got? So we've got the Bulwark, and we've got a Assault. So they're not going to be using as much ammo because they only have pistols. Oh, it's also good as well, the plasma weaponry. So I've got the plasma pistol here. You can hold it and charge it and overheat it, so it'll use more heat. It'll gather more heat when you do it, but it is does give you much greater damage impact. And you can do that with the plasma incinerators and the plasma pistols as well. And there are also some perks as well which allow you to increase the damage that you do with those. Imagine a psychic class. Yeah, so it'd be interesting, really. There has been mention of new classes being added at later dates, so rather than just as well as, but I'm not sure how some classes would be added. I think maybe some classes would be a little bit too overpowered, so it would be interesting. I think some people have said that they want to see Terminators, but again, I think that they would be too overpowered. They'd be maybe good as like a power-up or a call-in for a certain mission, but as a general weapon option, as a general class, they might be a little bit too overpowered. And you can't have them too slow in terms of like normal movements, because you do have to walk around as a team. So if you have one guy who's always at the back, just hanging behind, you're just going to be slowing down everything. So we've already got the armory data. So the only thing, let's just top up this. A chaplain. A chaplain could work. A chaplain would be a good way to have a class which buffs their team. That'd be interesting. There are also perks in this which you can unlock for each of the classes, which are squad buffs. So as you kind of level up your classes, they do have different options in, and if you want to lean down a particular play style, then you can modify your abilities so that they complement the way you play. So some of them are, you can increase the ammo reserves of your squad, you can reduce weapon spread for guns, increase melee damage, lots of different options that you can do, and it really does kind of give you the real freedom to customize stuff how you want to. So this is another kind of horde mode. This isn't the end of the mission, this is just halfway through. So if you remember the last mission, this is kind of like the last little bit, but if you just look at the amount of gaunts that you have on screen, so we're going to unload on this now, make use of the very satisfying indeed.
The Hive Tyrant is on its way, but it is a horde of Xenos between you and it. Dig in for the long haul.
You see, the heavy bolt does pretty good work against these large numbers of gaunts. I think in a good squad, when I've seen this in some of the higher difficulties where people have played the game a lot and they kind of understand how stuff works, as the heavy, your job is to kind of thin out these ranks. You want to do as much damage to these large numbers of enemies as possible, because you have that damage output, which is a lot of bullets, but not necessarily each shot doing all that much damage. The sniper is really good for individual bosses, or they're called Majoris. There's Manoris enemies, which are things like Gaunts, normal humans. You have Majoris, which are warriors, and some of the Chaos Marines, and then you have Extremists, which are more like the mini bosses that you fight. So things like Zoanthropes, Sorcerers, things like that. I would say the heavy's very much geared up for combat against those Minoris characters. It just shreds through gaunts. But then you do have access to things like the Plasma Incinerator, which is more of a... it's probably quite good against the warriors. But you do sacrifice rate of fire to do that. Is there any gauntlets like the one Calgar with bolts, or just power fists? There are just power fists. I think one of the things which would be nice would be an aggressor class, which had bolters. So you can see we've got a Hive Tyrant. So you can see the charge that we planted earlier on have been specifically for this. Some really nice little set pieces that happen with this game as well. An aggressor class would be fun, yeah, because you can switch between Boltstorm gauntlets and Flamestorm gauntlets. That'd be nice. There's a couple of options. There, interestingly, isn't actually there's a flamer weapon in the campaign, but there isn't actually a flamer weapon in this. As far as I can tell, I've not found one. I've done all of the operations. I've not seen a single one. So maybe there could be like an Infernus Marine kind of class. That might be fun, but again, you kind of very much specific to a niche. So maybe you could just give Tactical Marines the Pyre-Blaster. Sebastian's Captain Price Akron there, providing your intel over the box. Yeah, he's quite if you've played the campaign, you'll see him popping up quite a few times. And the character model that they've got from in-game is exactly, if you look at the Phobos Captain on the Games Workshop web store, he's exactly that. He's not even inspired by, he's literally just that model. Which is quite nice. I would say that if you are a Warhammer fan, this game probably has a lot more to offer you than if you're just like a casual player. Which, chances are if you're watching the stream, you probably have some... You probably do enjoy Warhammer to some degree. You have an understanding of the lore. There's lots of cool little mentions and nods to the background. It's so one of the negative things that I've seen described about the game is that the campaign is quite exposition light, in the sense that sometimes it doesn't always explain the significance of certain things or why certain things are the case, which makes sense because if you already know, if you're a Warhammer fan, it's kind of teaching your grandma to suck eggs. It's that whole kind of thing where everyone who is into Warhammer knows enough about the setting to know exactly what is going on and why certain things happen. There's little tidbits of information which kind of the characters talking to each other in the game, and they give you more information that you might not already know. But Warhammer is just such a lore-heavy setting that I think it'd be very hard to really organically explain to people exactly what it is that the game plays. I've also got a Space Marine control pad. I forgot to mention that. I actually got sent this for free, which I'm not going to complain, but it is just literally an Xbox control pad with Space Marines and Tyranids on it, which is pretty cool, but it didn't really offer anything else, but it's nice. I like it. So you can see I'm not quite tearing through these Majoris enemies maybe as quickly as I was as the previous class, because this is not where the wheelhouse for this particular class is. It is very much a... Oh, I'm down. My Dark Souls training of blocks weren't very good then. So I'll quickly explain how the incapacitation works. So, when you get knocked down, depending on the difficulty that you're playing, you can be revived a number of times by your teammates before you kind of have to respawn, or at least wait until the next checkpoint happens. The higher the difficulty are, the fewer those that you get. And I think on the highest one, you might not even be able to be revived more than once. I think that's like it's like one, and that's it. Then the next time you die, you're incapacitated. So on these earlier modes, it does give you quite a few more. They're called you become mortally wounded. That's what it is. And then next time you die, it goes completely down. Let's end this poll as well. There we go. How necessary is it to know the Space Marine story? There are a few nods to the Space Marine story, and if you play the Space Marine story, you will kind of get some nice information, but you don't need to play it. A little bit, the information is kind of dotted through the campaign about what happened, because the squad that you play with aren't aware of your history, so you do slowly reveal information to them. They know a little bits of information about you as well. So you don't need to play the first game, but if you have played the first game, there are some nice little callbacks and almost like in-jokes and nods to the previous game, which is quite nice. It's quite nice for people who've played the last one 13 years ago now? Last game came out. So if you haven't figured it out yet, we are going to attack a hive tyrant. So the original plan for this operation was to blow up a bridge on top of it to stop it in its tracks, but it still survives. So you've wounded it, so you're not fighting it at full strength, which is quite nice because it gives... Whilst you can kind of fight your way through an awful lot of smaller enemies, and it's understandably as a Space Marine, I think maybe 3 Space Marines taking on a Hive Tyrant at full strength maybe would be a little bit too much, possibly. So it is nice that you do have a little bit of you going into it with a little bit of an advantage, let's say.
New path ahead.
Right, so we'll watch the cutscene. You can skip it if everyone agrees, but this is the Hive Tyrant. It's got a little bit of I-beam stuck in there. So my job here is not going to be so much to take on the Hive Tyrant. I can do a decent amount of damage, but there's going to be a few little horde units popping up around, and I think it might be better to act as a bit of crowd control for the other guys who are a bit more currently tanking it at the moment, which is so this is it. So you can see the other enemies appearing now. So this is going to be my job, is to keep these guys off the main, the other two guys in my squad. Trying to dodge psychic blasts.
Specialized biocam neutralized.
Oh, I've got some crack grenades. Let's use the crack grenades. There we go. Easiest difficulty, so it's fairly straightforward. I've played this on the harder difficulties at the third level, and it just completely destroys you because it just takes off so much of your armor. So if you're kind of busy taking on the warriors, then you just get destroyed very, very quickly. Where's Titus? Titus is currently doing the main campaign. We are playing operations mode. This is the multiplayer mode where you can just keep replaying missions and unlocking different classes, and you get to play as different classes. Whereas the campaign mode is where you play as Titus, but you think you can play the campaign mode in co-op as well, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so we completed another mission, so let's maybe do another poll to start which class should we play as next. So I'll put the tactical back in the running. Okay, so we've got Tactical Vanguard, Assault, and Bulwark as well. So this is going to be the poll to determine which class you most want to see in the next mission. Eliminator, Eradicators are, yes, Eliminators. I always forget which one's which. Tech Marine would be interesting, yeah. The Tech Marine is... I guess you could swap out your ranged weapons for the different servo harness weapons, so you could have an axe as like your main weapon. There's quite a few options, I think. There's quite a few options. I'm trying to think of what units there is. There's heavy intercessors, which are basically the heavy, but they haven't given them like an auto bolt rifle. A heavy bolt rifle, sorry. Oh no, I think it's hopefully we've still got some movement on this one. It's never stopped at this part of the mission, which is frustrating. Is it? Oh yeah, okay, we're okay. We're safe. Is it possible to paint the ankles different colours? So no, so you can. So each armor piece that you can paint, each armor piece that you customize on the model can be painted. So you can have the shoulder pads different colors to the arms separately colored, the legs separately colored, torso separately colored, the backpack, and then any war gear. So if you're playing as a bulwark, you can paint your shield different color as well. But no, it's not as granular as that. You can't quite get really far down into the individual components, which is a shame, but it makes sense because at a certain point it starts to get very probably hard to manage. How's the tactical with plasma? So I'll just pick this for now. So I'm just going to quickly leave the squad. Right, so how's the poll doing so far? Did I put the poll up? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, so so we've got 27% tactical, 20% vanguard. Assault is the lowest one, and bulwark is the next one. So we need to have at least one deciding vote. Okay, updated. So tactical. So far, tactical and vanguard. So let's quickly go to here. Let's just apply the upgrades that I've just earned in that last mission. We've got probably enough time for one more mission before I wrap up the stream for this evening. Common shots generate 10% less heat. Weapons cool 15% less. Pretty much the same. Let's go for this one. I can change this if I need to anyway later on. Okay, switched again. So bulwark. Let's add this perk that I've unlocked. And then I have also unlocked an extra piece of armor. Oh, a different iron halo. There we go. Let's go for that one. So far we have, yeah, it looks like the bulwark's going to be the. I have not played this. I've played the trials, which are these little kind of training missions which explain how they work. So I know how they work, but I've never played them in a mission. So we'll see. So what weapon options have we got? Whoa, we could go for a plasma pistol. Let's go for the plasma pistol. I think that's probably going to make sense. And I'm going to go for the power sword. And the reason I'm going to do the power sword is because I think it looks the coolest, personally. It's the only class that has access to it as well. I think the assault can use the power fist as well, and the chainsaw as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's end it there then. I think we've kind of got enough of an ending. How do you feel about multiplayer classes loading locked to a specific legion? Again, I've not really played that part of multiplayer yet because there haven't really been enough people, but I don't mind it personally because I think what they're trying to do with it is just the same reason why there is a limited number of customization across different classes, is because they want, especially in a PvP setting, it's good to be able to know from a glance what class your opponent is, and so you can counter them or you know what to expect from them. And if they are customizable too much, or the colors are too modifiable or anything like that, then it starts to break down that ability to see that kind of rock paper scissors aspect of the gameplay. So I understand where it's come from a gameplay point of view, but maybe it would have been cool to have at least the ability to change it, even if it's just for you to see it rather than your opponents. But you never know, we might actually get a operations mode that might allow you to run some chaos classes, so we'll see. We'll see. How's the tactical with plasma? I've not used them with plasma. I've used them with the same weapon I used with my sniper class, because he has access to it, and the gun is because it's upgraded. If you look at the firepower level, it's level 9 because it's like rank 3 now. But if you compare it to the plasma incinerator, that does 4 damage apparently, but this does 9 damage per shot. This has much lower accuracy, much better accuracy. I think the rate of fire is the same thereabouts. Reloading speed, yeah. So at the moment, I've just been using this because he does really well at the moment on lower classes at least. But yeah, that's right. So let's go for the bulwark. Hopefully we can get in a match of this, because a lot of people like to play with this class. That's a tactical marine. That's not. Oh no, it's okay. Oh yeah, so it just doesn't have the shield. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can get a match with it. Weapons are shared between classes, so not all classes have access. Okay, this is good. Not all classes have access to all of... see, this is the problem. So this person here also wants to play as the same class. So we can't actually progress the mission. And the Bulwark is a very... I don't know why. I think they just look cool. I don't... From what I've played, I'm going to let them play that. So who came second on that? Okay, so it was the straight up tie. Okay, that's interesting. So let's... Who won the previous one? So it was Vanguard. Let's go for Vanguard. Let's go for Vanguard with the... What weapon options have we got? Instigator, scoped precision carbine with 3-round rapid fire, mid-range carbine with extended magazine. Ooh, interesting. Let's go for the Instigator bolt carbine, and we'll go for the Vanguard. Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, the squad leader has already taken dibs. So we've got a sniper, Vanguard, and we've got a Bulwark. You can just watch him. Watch them play instead. After all the years, this is my first time interested in watching somebody play a video game. I think the reason why it helps is because I have a history with Space Marines. I suppose some of my most numerous videos are most watched videos, and the most numerous theme of my videos is Space Marines. So I think I can at least look at it from a hobby aspect and be like, I literally have these characters on my desk. I mean, I have my Raptor Assault Marines just on my desk here. But I can kind of, I guess I can relate it to the hobby side of things. So I think you've got to be interested. See, it's interesting because I don't actually end up watching many game streamers or anything like that. Well, I do like to watch people who have kind of uploaded like an edited video, maybe of a stream that they've done in the past, and mainly when people do challenges. So it'll be those kind of like stupid Skyrim ones where it's like play Skyrim, but I don't know, you can only use Fireball or something like that, and they'll play as far as they can. Okay, so this is good because we've played three different missions in the stream, and this is the first one we actually get to see some of the Thousand Suns play, which is good. So I need to remember that I'm not playing as a sniper class on this one because I've been very much used to playing as a sniper. So this class will be playing slightly differently. So this is the grapple ability. So yeah, seems to be a bit more combat focused. Like I said earlier, it's more of an assassin class, I suppose. You're going after the characters which are... You're not really worrying as much about the hordes, but you're worrying about the main... the characters, the Majorus. You can see at the top there we've got Minoris and Majorus. I don't know. The grapple allows you to kind of just propel yourself over any of the enemies and kind of get up close and personal with them.
What needs grappling?
What have we got here? Nothing. Okay. Did we pick up some... Oh, Guardian Relic. Okay. It's Imperius that's got it. Imperius has got the Guardian Relic. We're all good. Heavy Corn, Vanguard, Death Guard. Can you imagine? Remember, folks, when you see these, roll into them. Yeah, so I think my target here is to go after the warriors. I think I'm not going to worry as much about these. The bulwark can probably tank a lot of the shots that are going to be coming from these. I'm probably going to be fighting with the sniper in this Bobazana for killing these warriors, but their focus is more of a range. Maybe taking out enemies that come from behind, things like that. I don't know where they are actually. Oh, they're there, okay. Oh, that's the lictor, I think. I don't know if you heard that, like kind of like a little... Keep my... So I'm going to try and get close up. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Tell you what, this is it's an interesting play style. I'm not sure if I'm as bothered about this about this particular play style. Maybe I just need to kind of get in it, but it's not quite as tough as the assault class. Yeah, that's good. Get some armor going. Grapple. I do need to keep grappling, but timeout is a little bit slower than I would like. I don't want to melt a bomb. I've got my frag grenades.
Just set.
Active camouflage charged. The arch enemy has conjured a barrier.
Okay, so this is the first hint that we're going to be going up against some Thousand Suns enemies. I'll also reveal my tactic of rolling into the human enemies to kill them, rather than using bullets or weapon strikes. Oh, we've got a Ravener. Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of it now. I just need to play a little bit more aggressively than maybe I have done in the previous classes. Just kind of get in there and do as much damage as possible. Okay. So if I remember rightly, we should start seeing some... the knife is the most powerful weapon in the game. So the knife is very good. So I probably should have pointed this out on the armory section of the page, but come on, grapple, recharge. There we go. Each combat weapon has a different type of block rating or defense rating. So there is a block which allows you to just block the damage when you do a perfect parry. The combat knife is fencing, and a few of the other weapons are balanced, I think. So they have like a perfect parry window, and if you do the perfect parry, then you can essentially stun the enemy and do a gun strike, which is when that little red crosshair comes on. And it does also kind of knock them back and the enemies around you a bit. So the knife is probably the weakest in terms of damage output. This one is a slightly upgraded knife though. But it is the best in terms of fighting an enemy close by, which is obviously why this class has this particular weapon.
Swapping out magazine.
I've got to say as well, the environments look very good, and I think you'll notice a lot of set details and like the pipes and stuff like that. They are very much referenced to actual Warhammer scenery. You can see the pipes here, this little section that is available. I literally have some of those kits. Right, so we finally get to see some Chaos Marines. So these are the little human enemies that you can just roll into and just crush them. It's great. I accidentally figured out when I was just trying to avoid them. So we're going to get some Zangors up here, and we also have Rubik Marine as well. So that's the animations for these are particularly fun because you can see like the energies just disappear. There's two different Zangors. There's some armed with shields and some armed with just normal weapons. So let's see if we can see a few of those.
Resist, brothers. Back into the corrupting order.
So we've got a sorcerer over here as well. So these have quite interesting features where they have a shield, which if you shoot at it, it kind of looks at you and starts to shoot a laser beam at you. And then there's also these like little... where is he? Right, okay. The executions are fun. Right, are we down? Yeah, we're ready to execute him. Right, okay. Let's get some more humans. Ready? We're gonna... He didn't get a chance to do it then. There we go. Just roll through them. Don't waste your ammo. Just use your way to crush them. Just literally steamroll. Genuinely, it's my favourite way of killing enemies because it just makes so much sense that if you were the size and weight of a Space Marine, you would not need to actually do anything other than using your weight. So I think what's happening here is it's already been collected. We don't need to collect it. So what will happen is the little armory data thing pops up, but if you look at the little green section, you can see it's already been collected. So I'm not sure why it stays there, but it does confuse people, and some people get very concerned that they've not actually picked the stuff up when they have. So just a heads up when you play the game. The game is beautiful and very tempting. I just don't know if it's worth taking money out of my plastic budget to get it. I mean, I don't never want to be the kind of person who's like, oh yeah, you should get this game, it's amazing, kind of thing. I enjoy the game. I have had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I've had it for just over a week now. I had it from last Monday, and I've put about 25 hours into the game. I'm still kind of really enjoying it at the moment. That's the campaign and the operations mode. I haven't even played any of the PvP and multiplayer, but it's not... Probably won't play as much of that anyway, so I'm not surprised that I haven't already played a lot of it. But, no, it's good, and I suppose, do you already have plastic that you want to paint, that you've already painted, that you're still waiting to be built in a box somewhere? What's nice about this, you can enjoy it and don't have to paint everything. So this kind of ends up being quite a common mechanic when you're going up against Marines, of these little points that you have to hold onto, and you can see the little cage around it's getting ever so slightly smaller. that's kind of explained as being the your armor of contempt, I guess. The your devotion to the Emperor is actually weakening the effects of this like chaos altar, which is quite fun. There's a venerable land raid in the tube, and I've been looking to get into big railgun energy with the greater good. I do like vehicles at the moment. I need to paint more vehicles, to be fair. I have had a lot of fun with the ones that I've done, and I haven't really done any Space Marine ones. I've only done Astra Militarum ones, so maybe I should do some Space Marine vehicles. That'd be good fun. Okay.
Orders are clear. Advance.
Leonard Monsieur. Hi everyone. Is the game finally out? How is it so far? So the game does get fully released on the 9th, which I think is Monday. This is the... So I've got like a review copy of the game. But if you have the gold edition or one of the different editions, it gives you like a few days early access. So yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. Like I said, I've put quite a few hours into the game. I would say that the only thing is that we will probably rely on it getting a few extra DLCs and expanded content. There is probably only a limited number of missions you can play through. There's only 6 operations missions, and whilst they do change as you play through them on greater difficulties, there is an incentive to play through them on difficulties as well. They are pretty much the same, but it's good fun. I've been enjoying playing it for the amount of time that I have, and I quite like knowing the missions and knowing what to expect, because I enjoy the whole aspect of figuring out what is the best approach to do something, which weapons I need to use for the next section, especially as it gets harder where you actually have to pay attention to what weapons you're using. It starts with custodians because they're affordable and beginner friendly. Yeah, that makes sense. I quite like. I've been quite tempted by custodians in the past myself, just because I could actually get a playable force out of them. But my next project, so the project I'm going to start working on tomorrow, which will be out in a couple of weeks, hopefully, is going to be a kill team. I'm not going to say what kill team yet, but it's going to be a Space Marine kill team, and it's not going to be Raptors. Okay, so we have another couple of enemy types here. This is it's one of the Reboot Marines, but they are like the Warp Flame variations, so they're quite nasty for the combat classes, because normally you're kind of getting up so close and personal with them, and then they're just setting you on fire immediately. But they're great when you're playing as like the sniper, because they just can't reach you at all. None of their attacks can get even close to you. So you may have noticed that the Rubik Marines have a teleporting ability, which is a bit annoying, because you can be shooting them from a distance and they just literally teleport behind you. It's that kind of like old meme. Teleports behind you. That's literally what the Rubik Marines do. 2 copies of the Combat Patrol is valid, and a cool army. Is that the one that comes with the jet bikes? What do you get in that one? Off the top of my head. I think I saw something which was you can build a... It might have been like the Paul Hammer podcast, something like they said that you can build a pretty reasonable Custodes army from 2 Combat Patrols and I think one character, or maybe like add a rhino in there or something like that. It's really kind of a straightforward. Oh, we've got a Scarab Occult Terminator here as well. I'm not sure we'd see one of these yet, but there are two different types. There's ones which have the rocket launcher on top, which are annoying because you've got to dodge them. And you also have the Reaper autocannon. And there's also like more of a Soul Reaper, that's the weapon. And there's also a class, which you see a little bit more late in the later difficulties, is more of a combat class, and they just kind of run at you with a sword, and they are ridiculous. So you have to like do a couple of parries and a dodge, but there is an achievement if you manage to do to parry all of their attacks, and they're pretty quick attacks as well. The old one had jet bikes, the new one has 3 Terminators, 5 Wardens, 5 Guards, and a Sword Champion. You can build one of each squad as a character too. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because I remember the old one having jetpacks, but I wasn't sure what the new one had. But the Terminators, I like the Terminators. I've got 3 Terminators in my display cabinet, which are the Alaris. They are Alaris, aren't they? Terminators, aren't they? Yeah. The Custodes, the Nurgle Corrupted Custodes that I did. Choo choo.
Smells like fresh munition. Rally on me to advance. The pace of these machines grates on me.
Watched that video recently, the Greyfax. Oh yeah, added to my army would like to have a word. Okay, so you can see the fire do this like weird little area effect attack, which causes them to basically just shoot the ground underneath them. Which, if you're a melee class, is actually really annoying. But
I was wrong to expect a better fight from a snake.
against a range class, they are very straightforward to kill. How's the quality of the stream been actually? Because I've been keeping an eye on it over here, and it looks okay. But sometimes with game streams, the quality doesn't always transfer over stream. Streamers as Christmas, my internet will let me. It looks okay from my end. Hopefully we'll see. I guess I'll see when the video is uploaded after this. It probably helps that I'm also streaming to Twitch actually, because I think one of the problems I had last time was I was trying to do both, which just slowed things down massively. Okay, so it's unusual. So sometimes when you play this mission, what will happen is halfway through the lift's ride, it'll stop and you'll have to go and then turn the lift back on again. But it hasn't done it this time, and I think it kind of randomly has certain events which will happen, or additional waves of enemies, or certain extra little actions that you have to perform in order to kind of progress forward, and it's not always the same. So this actually is the kind of the end of the mission, and this is actually really kind of quite an interesting boss actually, because it's one of those bosses where you can't kill them directly. There's a couple of these in this game. And if you look at it, I'll try and get a good shot of it without. So it's actually a Lord of Change, but if you could look just there, it's actually a demon host, which is pretty cool actually to see this kind of done in a the chaos fashion as oh that wasn't what wanted to happen. The chaos using a demon host as opposed to it being like an inquisitorial thing. But yeah, we've got to basically destroy these little altars that are currently binding the greater demon to him. But he will start attacking us as we move up the levels. And you can see I already see the purple little explosive bits, which are his doing. So yeah, there's stuff like this which that probably has very little significance for anyone who isn't into the lore, but for someone who understands what a demon host is and what that kind of is going on there, it's quite nice details, and it kind of really sets you in the 40k universe. What's good about the Marine dialogue is actually, depending on what helmet you're wearing, it'll actually change the sound. So so my character doesn't sound too bad, but when he wears his if I wear the Reaver mask, it'll be a lot more kind of modulated, and it'll sound like the Reaver mask should do when a Space Marine's wearing it. Sorcerer. Where's he gone? There he is. Let's try and grapple him. Come on! Ah, I need to revive this guy. Ammo. That grapple does not seem to be doing much damage to this guy at all. How much? It's just bullet sponging. What's going on? I've run out of ammo now for me. Where's he gone? Let's take the armor boost whilst we're here. I'm determined to get this guy killed. It's not the actual aim of the game, but I just really need to get him dead. This is unusually tough for a sorcerer. The sorcerers are tough, but not this tough. I actually think the guy, I think he's glitched. It's either part of the mission, I've just never noticed it before. But I don't think I've ever seen a Chaos Sorcerer that's taken this much damage and not died. As an old school, I have to say they've got every detail and superb. They've clearly had a lot of input in getting it that. Yeah, definitely. You can. There's definitely been. I feel like they've actually gone through the Games Workshop range, and even some like the older kits, like some of the older scenery kits that they don't do anymore, and they've gone. Yeah, how can we recreate these in the game? And they've just done really fantastic jobs. Like it's the statues that they used to release, that they released in the some of the old scenery sets. They've been like perfectly recreated. Just loads of little details, just really good. I think it's a good game for people who aren't 40k fans, but I think for people who are 40k fans, it's really nice to see such a faithful recreation of the universe, personally. Bye-bye. Three to three. All on the lowest difficulty, though, to be fair. The first one wasn't. The first one was the second difficulty. So, thoughts on the Vanguard class? He's not my favourite. Having played them all now, he's definitely not my favourite. Maybe when he's had a few upgrades, I think my favourite is definitely the sniper. I like the tactical because he can use the same weapon as a sniper, and he's a little bit tougher and has some good options as well, some good abilities. Heavy's pretty fun. Oh no, I haven't played the Bulwark actually in an actual campaign setting. I shall reserve my judgment until then, but I'd say the Vanguard is my least favourite so far. Let's leave the squad and we'll have a look at the few items we've unlocked, and I think we're probably going to be wrapping up the stream there. I think that's nice. I'm probably not going to be able to get a chance to do a full on time for another mission, but yeah, I think it was a nice as a stream goes in terms of showing off the game. I think I've showed off a few classes. I've showed off a few different enemy types, how the game plays, mechanics, and yeah, it's a nice game. I've really been enjoying playing it, and I was very eager to kind of do this on stream because I wanted to show what the game is like from someone who's very much invested in the 40k background, the lore, and the aesthetics of it all. Even just things like the battle barge as well, just the detail that goes into these things. I mean, you have all these mechanics. If you look at these details, it's all stuff which is... There's scenery that looks like this, but on a bigger scale, and it's just like a scaled down version of it. And you can see these are literally kits, these statues. I think the faces are slightly different, if I'm not mistaken, but these are pretty much perfect recreations, even with like the little weird cog things that are at the back of them. There are the container ships, the pipes. You can see these were available as kits. I actually have some of these in... You can see the other containers over there, exactly the same. Yeah, really well designed. That was a scenery piece, a bit small, but it was definitely a scenery piece. Yeah, really nice art direction. I think they've massively put that effort in. Okay, so let's get the upgrade for this one. What are the perks like? Each melee attack you land reduces the range damage you take by 1%, up to 15%. If you do not land a melee attack for 3 seconds, the effect ends. Okay, so that makes sense. It kind of gives us the vibe of what this class is about. It's very much you get stuck in, you start dealing as much melee damage as you can, and this gives you the ability to ignore a degree of ranged fire. Duelist perfect parry window increased by 50%. Yeah, so if you're using the combat knife, which is already a very high, has the fencing. I'll show you in a second what I mean by that. But yeah, that makes sense. There, after you're grabbed or knocked back, you deal 20% more melee damage for 10 seconds. So yeah, so you're kind of relying on taking damage, but it does mean you can get back up and deal a bit more. And like I said, each of these classes, you choose one from each column when you unlock them. So sometimes one will be geared up towards a particular weapon. So these are all like your core abilities. These are the abilities that affect your whole squad, which is quite nice. Oh, that's a good one. Melee finishes of extremist enemies. Extremists. It's quite niche. There's not all that many extremists. Maybe on the higher difficulties there is. All squad members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishes. That's useful. That's very useful because a lot of people end up performing finishes. So these are all the gear related ones. These are all going to be related to your special ability normally. After a perfectly timed parry or dodge, you take 15% less health damage for 3 seconds. Again, this compared to the first perk. Performing a finish with the grapnel launcher deals a small amount of damage to nearby enemies. That's good. Diving kick, you take 10% less range damage for 10. Okay. I think this very much seals the deal as to what kind of class this is. Taking lethal damage restores all armor instead of incapacitating you. Cooldown is 1. That's very good. So as long as you don't die every 3 minutes, you basically get like a free save. That's good. Melee kills and Majora's or higher enemies restore health by 1%. It seems like a small amount, but you will be churning through a few of those later on. Yeah, to be fair, I think out of the box, it's probably not super interesting, but I think when you start unlocking perks and adding extra details to them, I reckon things will start looking a lot better. So we have a couple of helmet options. We have the typical Reaver helmet, full helmet. We have the no helmet, and then we also have this one. I'm going to go for this one. I quite like this helmet. I've got a few of my characters with this. Yeah, so this is the Incursor. So this is more like an Incursor helmet, and this is more like an Infiltrator helmet. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's operated. So this class is more of like the Incursor Reaver type, whereas the, no, I suppose it's also Infiltrator as well. Yeah, you have the same kind of shoulder upgrades. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so this class, I reckon this one will have the knives on there as well. Maybe one of them on the leg options. On the waist options? Oh, that's interesting. I would have expected to see the paired blades as well, actually, but no. Okay. Right, weapons, that's what it's going to do. Actually, I could have been equipping a more powerful weapon that whole time. Damn. So you can see the details here. So these are all the different stats of each of the weapons. So the strength is obviously how much damage you do. The speed is how quickly you can swing it. Cleaving potential is something you see more in the swords and stuff like that. So this is obviously, you're not going to be going through multiple enemies with each hit. But this defense here, so fencing, you have an increased perfect parry window, block, no perfect parry window, and then balance is moderate perfect parry window. So if you hit that block button at just the right time, then you knock them back. Tyler Elkins, guess I showed up at the wrong time. No, it's no problem. We probably will be doing another one of these. Maybe I might do another one once the game releases fully. So maybe on Monday or something. Maybe when it's people have got full access to the game. Maybe get a few people in a squad. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, thank you very much for everyone who has joined me for playing Space Marine 2. If you have also have this on order, you're going to be getting this game. Then hopefully it's giving you the ability to decide whether you're going to go ahead with the game or not. I personally can't recommend a game beyond my own experiences in it. I've enjoyed playing it, but people have different experiences with the game. I would say that whilst I've had a lot of fun with it, if you're a 40k fan, there's a lot of stuff there for you. I would maybe say that the campaign is quite short. There's not many missions in the campaign. I can probably quickly show you what kind of... I don't want to spoil too much. If you don't want to be spoiled by the campaign, then look away for a few seconds. Just mute it for a few seconds. The campaign is split over 3 planets. The missions are fairly decent in length, but there's only 2 missions on the first planet, 3 missions on the second planet, and then there's 1 mission on the final planet. So there's only 6 missions in the total game. They are pretty long missions, but they're not very... There's not many of them. But the final mission, to be fair, when I was playing through that one, it just kind of kept on going and going and going. And I was like, okay, this is actually quite a nice conclusion to the campaign. So the campaign is good fun, really interesting, like storyline. Again, I think maybe there's a lot of stuff if you're not a 40k player or have some idea of what's going on half the time in terms of the lore, you can get left out. But yeah, no, I enjoy it. The gameplay is good. You feel like a Space Marine. I think that's the biggest thing. It's basically Space Marine Simulator. And the operation mode is good fun. The fact that you can really change up your playstyle just by changing classes. And if you get a few friends who have also got the game, you can play through the campaign and co-op. I believe you can definitely play through this in co-op, but I think you can play through the campaign and co-op as well. And maybe on Monday, before Monday or on Monday, I'll give the multiplayer a go as well. We can maybe do something in that in the future. So yeah, so thank you very much everyone who has joined the stream so far. I will be hopefully doing some more streams in the future, not just game streams, some model streams as well. I do enjoy the streams. I'll try and fix Twitch as well, so maybe that'll work next time. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who has joined. I've got to figure out how to. I can just about remember how to stop the streams on here now. So let me get this ready, so I can cancel it when, because I have a habit of like cancelling the stream and then it's just not. Right. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who's joined the stream to watch this. It will be available to watch later if you missed parts of it, so you can go back and scrub through. And I shall see you all in my next video, which will be released on Sunday, which is a bolt action video. We haven't done one of those for a while. So there's a bolt action video, there's a 40k video the week after that, and there's a kill team video the week after that. There's a few quick, rapid succession of videos for the next few weeks. So yeah, I hope you all look forward to those. And I will see you all again in the future. Goodbye.